Who are the leaders in the 49ers clubhouse? Now, we know what that term means, but we're going to take a look and see who's at the top of each position right here on the Wayne Breezy Show. I got the GOAT. John Chapman is back, baby. Let's have some fun. You guys stick around. We're going to get ready to get going, baby. Breezy this, breezy that.
Breezy this, breezy that. They know I'm gold-blooded. I got the Niners on my back, you know. Breezy this, breezy that. Ain't nobody working like Breezy, and that's a fact.
What's going on, faithful? It's your boy Wayne Breezy. It's the one and only John Chapman. Switch. John, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm pumped to be here. I've been out of town. I'm about to go back out of town, but I corralled all the travel plans, which I'm not good at, because this show is one of the highlights of my week because I don't have to do all the prep work. And Wayne brings the energy, and we're just going to have fun and talk football, man. So shout out to everybody in the chat. This is going to be a fun episode.
It's definitely going to be a fun episode. John, I was going to use the crap word, but I'm not. But I do appreciate you for holding out until we got through this show. It's been a minute. We didn't get a chance to get to him last week. We had things we had to do. I think I had to go to a funeral. You were out of town enjoying the wonderful weather in Mexico. Just curious because, well, I guess out on the West Coast, you guys aren't getting that thick smog. We're having these fires from like Canada. So like the air quality here is so bad, bro. Like it's just bad. It's like even when the sky, the sun is out, it's shining, like the sky's still gray. It's like dark gray too on top of that. So it's weird. You ever experienced anything like that?
Yeah, out here in California, when we first moved out here, it was happening a lot. So California, we get that kind of a lot, but it sucks, period, no matter who it happens to. And, man, a lot of empathy for you guys. Hopefully it gets better.
Appreciate you, brother. Listen, we're not going to be before you long. I know I sound like a preacher right now, but I'm dead serious. John has to fly, literally, away very shortly. So we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. But before we do, I got to give a shout out to the Breezy Bunch members. Shout out to Eddie G. He's in the place to be. Shout out to all the Countdown crew members who are watching on your stream. I appreciate them. Jax Knox is in the building. Good morning, Wayne and John and the faithful. Hope everyone is having a great Friday. Let's have a great show with two of my favorites. Christy Marie is in the building. What's going on, Christy? This is our guy.
Oh, royalty.
Royalty's in the building. All right. Shout out to my boy E, who is holding down two, not one, but two at the same dang time. Shout out to you, E, man. Happy belated birthday to you, brother. I hope all is well. Can't wait to chop it up with you. And Pittsburgh, Troy's in the building. All right, Troy is in the building. My man Colin is in the building. Marty Marr, 49er Empire is in the building. Troy, I hope everything is going well with you. My brother Ronnie, 33, is in the building. Big Papa, never softer than. Take it to the church, rob the preacher for the offering. Listen, I could quote Biggie lines all day. What's going on, Big Papa? Uncle Scott Hill's in the building as well. My man Don't Bother Me is in the building. Joker's in the building. And if I missed anybody else that's a member of Coach Cruz is in the building. And I hope I didn't miss anybody else. But John, it's really good to have you here. Shout out to the Breezy's Bunch members. Ear horns all around for you guys. John, I want to get down to the nitty gritty of the show. Guys, already make sure you hit that like button on both streams. If you're not already subscribed to the Wayne Breezy channel, make sure you do so. If you're not subscribed to the 49ers Rush channel, make sure you do so. It's simple. You just click the subscribe button. It's real easy. And, John, they could become members of both of our shows, so that's really cool as well by just clicking join. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that as well. Latest in 49ers news, John. I haven't been here all week long. I think I was here Monday. Haven't really got a chance to talk about some of the things that are going down with the 49ers. But there is a little bit of news that has happened since you've been gone. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. The 49ers signed defensive lineman Daryl Johnson. He played for, I believe he played for Buffalo at one point, played for a couple of things. Any insight, because you're the insight guy, any insight on this particular young fella right here?
Yeah, he's an interesting guy because he got traded for by the Carolina Panthers. They traded for him. Guess who was with Carolina Panthers? That's right, our new DC. So you got a little bit of a track record there. He hasn't played much Fun guy. He's young still. I think he's 26 years old. Yeah, just turned 26. He's out of North Carolina A&T. And, I typed in all of his workout metrics. He's a big dude, D-line, 6'6", 253. I typed in all of his stuff on mockdraftable.com, and he has his closest comp out of the entire history of defensive linemen is none other than Aaron Lynch, who the 49ers, again, they got to type.
What the hell is that shit?
So the 49ers got to type. There's a Venn diagram somewhere with Steve White and Kyle Shanahan, and right in the middle is Daryl Johnson. Do I think he's going to make the 53? No, but this is the time of year where you start cycling guys. And you just bring in as many as you can so that they can get familiar with the system. You can get familiar with them because you only have 90 people on your roster, but that's not enough. You need to have about 115, 120 that you're comfortable with. And so this is where the cycling of the back end of the roster will begin.
I agree, man. And again, like you said, it's all about cycling. They're also bringing in guys that have some type of familiarity with the system. All right. And so when you see some of these guys that you've never really heard of, it's okay because we know. I would say this, and Steve Wilkes we trust. Sounds like
I said White earlier. I apologize.
You did say White earlier, but I knew you meant Wilkes, and it's all good, man. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like we knew what you meant, dog. But no, seriously, man, this is really good news for the 49ers because they're going to bring in somebody who has some type of familiarity with the system. And there's one thing, I don't know if you got a chance to watch Steve Wilkes' pressers, but there's one thing that I felt like he made sure he said over and over again, and it starts up front. It starts up front. So he's going to make sure that he's bringing in guys that like are familiar. I hate when my phone rings. Like, why did this phone ring? Who has this number? Damn it.
Who has their phone's notifications on? I've never heard my phone ring in my life.
I
will say this. At the wedding I was at, the groom gave me his phone, and his phone went off during the wedding in my pocket.
That's official.
It was his phone.
That's official. Now,
everybody looked at me. I was like, "It's his phone."
There's a reason why my phone is ringing. So every morning, my son wants to play Mario Kart, and so he can't play it without the sound. So I forget to turn the sound off. Technically, he forgets to turn the sound off, but that's why my joint was ringing. Listen, like you said earlier about Daryl Johnson, another piece that the 49ers are going to have, God forbid there's a situation, somebody goes down in camp, they're going to make sure that they got the familiar guy that kind of got a little acclimated to some of the system. And you heard Steve Wilkes say, again, that they've been installing since day one. They just reiterating things as they continue to go along. John, when does training camp begin? July what? Do you know?
They haven't set the official date.
That's what I
yet.
thought. That's
it's
what I thought.
The last week of July, probably going to be July 27th, if I had to guess.
Yep,
but
into August.
You can hold me on that, whatever. But that's my guess.
I was looking for the official date. It's not been released yet. But once we get it, guys, we'll make sure we get it out to you. Let's talk about they waived wide receiver Shea Wyatt. Wasn't that the kid that we were all hyped up? He put out that video. Is this that kid?
No. That's a different guy.
Okay.
Shea Wyatt was a fun kid. He was fun. I had him number 84 on our roster countdown. There was a lot to like about him, but Kyle even talked about it. He echoed your words. Kyle Shanahan listens to our show. And Wade told us 2 weeks ago, we have too many damn wide receivers.
Too many.
And the very next day, they cut one wide receiver. Now they cut another. And Kyle said in his presser, we were just a little too thick at wide receiver, and we wanted to get some numbers elsewhere. That's what he said. I mean,
even though he said that, they're still working out two more. So they're working out wide receiver Jason Moore, and they brought back Ja'Cory Pearson for the second time. So what is Kyle trying to – again, this is for – future, I believe, like, God forbid something goes down. You kind of got guys that can mirror some of the players that are already on here. But what are your thoughts about these two guys? Why are we still working out wide receivers? We're stocked.
I don't think the 49ers are happy with their back end roster. That's why there's so many. They're hoping somebody separates. I think your first 5 or 6 are pretty clear. But whenever you're looking at guys, like I'm just going to list through some of these names: Chris Conley, Daz Newsome, Willie Snead. You got your veterans, but then you got your unproven, higher talented guys. Tay Martin, they like Tyron Johnson, Isaiah Winstead. That's the guy you were referencing earlier. They're wanting somebody to pop off that.
Thank you.
and maybe they're not getting the pop that they want. And so even though there's a lot of numbers, that back end, I think they're looking for a high-end developmental guy for next year, and I'm not sure they found it yet. So this cycling is going to continue. I don't think it's going to stop.
So potentially these are the guys that are going to be not just depth, but depth from the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes,
you just
100%.
said, you mentioned 6 guys. I feel like Chris Conley had a pretty decent camp.
He should. He's an experienced vet with high-end traits and size. He's bigger and faster than almost anybody else we got in that room, but that doesn't always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. CJ Leach says, did Pearson come in for more than just one day? He's there for his second visit. This is his second workout. So
they don't have to release that information. Usually that information comes out of the agent's side.
Correct.
Trying to build up buzz. But again, yeah, that's I can't confirm nor deny, and I don't want to be an insider. That's just one thing I just no interest in whatsoever. That's not me. That's not me.
I feel you. And so that's the latest in 49ers news. You talked about Aaron Lynch. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because Aaron Lynch was supposed to he had the physique, he had the long arms like Alden Smith, but he was nowhere near an Alden Smith.
And
so,
who is?
I know, but he was nothing for us as well. Like
right. We got him in the 5th round. You know what I mean?
Right. It's hit or miss.
Him in the 5th round, and
I could dig
he had
it.
15 sacks with us. That's pretty damn good. Like,
okay.
But yeah, is this guy, is Aaron Lynch, was he a multi-year starter for us? Probably shouldn't have been. We were just some bad teams. But his first years, he had 6 sacks his rookie year, 6.5 his second year. That's badass. That would have been second on our team last year.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious. Whenever you guys in the chat hear the name Aaron Lynch, like, how do you feel? Is it just like, all right?
I mean, I don't know how you can compare a guy with 2 sacks to a guy with 15 sacks.
Yeah, that was just their athletic build.
Got you.
Height, weight, arm length, 40, vertical. Like, they're just similar, comparable athletic profiles. Doesn't mean they play similarly. But
because one lines up on the inside, one lined up on the outside, though, right?
No, they're both outside players. No, 6'6", 250 is Daryl Johnson. Like,
he's an outside guy.
End.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a defensive end guy. He's not going to play inside.
We got to do a quick pause, John, real quick, because I just see on the flash on my screen we have Jax Knox, who has been a member of the Breezy's Bunch for the past 6 months. That's half a year, John. She's been a platinum Breezy's Bunch member. Shout out to you, Jax Knox. We appreciate you. All right. I thought to bring that up because I'm just curious. Like, they compared him from an athletic build, but I'm just looking at the guy's production. We talk about Daryl Johnson.
It's not much, man. I pulled up his PFF numbers.
I'm looking now, bro.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
but he hasn't played much the last 2 years. Like, let's just be real. He's played 72 snaps the last 2 years. Carolina traded a 6th-round pick for him and then didn't play him. And then he was on Seattle last year, and one of the games he did play in was against us in week 2. He got 18 snaps. He did have 1 tackle, 1 solo stop, but he hasn't done much. He just hasn't done much.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, listen, they got another person in here, again, that's familiar with Steve Wilkes. We'll see what happens. Here's the interesting thing, and I know we're not really breaking down the pressers, but another interesting take from Nick Bosa. He talked about something that was very important as far as like the depth and the rotation of the defensive line. And he mentioned like how last year, even though they had the rotation, like they were rotating new guys like often because guys kept getting injured. And he said that it's harder when you're working from the interior than it is from the exterior. So I just wanted to get your thoughts about that because the 49ers made sure they brought back T.Y. McGill, Kevin Givens. These are guys that were rotational pieces last year. who won't be necessarily new to the system or things like that. So now they got familiar rotation back. What are your thoughts about the defensive line just being like the key to unlocking the Loch Ness Monster?
That was my favorite of all the interviews. We got like this. We just got bum rushed with
Facts.
so many interviews
Facts.
in a row. It was incredible, but I was out of town, whatever. But I've been going through them. That was my favorite question or answer of all of them. And he was just talking about the difference between defensive tackles and the outside rushers, the defensive ends or the edge players. And he was like, defensive tackles more imposing on us because a lot of that has to do with the alignment that the 49ers play with. We play with the true 4-3 or a nickel package. We don't do 5 men defensive fronts like most teams in the NFL are doing now. We don't do 6 men, which means our defensive tackles they're getting double teamed at such a high rate. And so whenever they're doing that duo run game up the middle, think about the Falcons, you think about the Chiefs game. And we had all these backups in there, just guys off the street. We lost 5 defensive tackles by the time we were at that point in the game.
Facts.
And it was just, there's nothing we could do. There was nothing we could do, and made the Atlanta Falcons look like a good football team, which is a shame on us. But now you turned your weakness then into the biggest strength on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it started by getting Javon Hargrave. And then Javon Hargrave. And then when you got him, like all of a sudden you already got stronger because now you don't have to necessarily depend on your rotation as much. So when they do come in the words of Kool and the Gang, they're fresh, right? They're fresh, like fresh rotation. And that is key. Like you got to add that word right in front of rotation. You got to hit him with the, adjective or adverb, whatever you want to call it. It's that adjective, I think. Fresh. That is the key this year to the 49ers because I feel like the depth, I put this out on Twitter earlier. I don't know if you've seen it, but I know we lost some key players, and I just want to get your take on this. We lost some key players, right? Some key players. We lost some depth to this team. Why do I feel like the depth now is better than the depth that we lost, which is weird because we haven't seen a lot of it play a lot of the depth play.
The only area I would probably say would not hold true in that is the defensive end spot, going from Omenihu.
Because we don't know.
Those guys, yeah, we don't know. But we last year we were saying the same damn thing about the offensive guards. Remember?
Facts.
Oh, Lakin's gone. What are we gonna do? Brunskill's injured.
Facts.
We don't know. Alex Mack's gone, and all 3 of those were just freaking solid.
Solid.
Now those question marks have transitioned to the one defensive end spot not played by Nick Bosa, and then where?
But here's the thing, John. What did we get from them? We got 4.5, 4 sacks. It's not like we lost.
They were good run defenders.
They were great run defenders. Nobody, to me, Samson Ebukam set the edge really well.
Yes.
Samson. Yeah, and then Charles Omenihu was probably the best two-way player last year. Meaning
inside,
not
outside.
Offense and defense, inside out. Yeah.
I got you.
So here's the thing. Like, I know we got newer pieces, and I understand that can be the question mark. But if I get a minimum of that production, we good.
Yeah. The defense could be better. That's weird whenever you realize you lost 3 defensive ends, you lost Jimmy Ward, you lost Aziz, and you could improve.
That's crazy to me.
Javon Hargrave's that damn good.
And wait a minute. Never mind the players that we lost, John. We lost our defensive coordinator, who was the defensive coordinator of the year. We lost him, right? And I feel like, I know this is tough to say.
Say it. Come on now.
But I feel like we got better at defensive coordinating. Hear me out. Number 1, I felt like the front was always the strength of the team. And it always will be the strength of the team. And you hear Steve Wilkes saying over and over again, okay, up front, starts up front. Everything starts up front. Cool. But where does Steve Wilkes' strength lie, John?
The godfather of the DBs, baby.
You heard Diamador Lenore say.
I loved it. I loved it.
He had a good presser too. It starts. He's there in the backfield. So imagine. And Steve Wilkes said this, not Wayne Breezy, but he likes what he sees from Ambry Thomas. Let that shit sink in one time for your mind. I didn't say it.
He did.
That's what he said. So I'm
He
curious.
also said, we got to wait and see till those pads come on. If he can
We do
it.
gotta wait to see. We do gotta wait to, and that goes for everybody because he said Diamador Lenore looks really well. We know Mooney Ward is pretty much a lock, but he still struggles in zone. Like, if you look at his breakdowns and where he struggled last year, it was in zone. And it doesn't mean it was just all on him. It's communication, right? Safety not where he's supposed to be, blah, 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 blah. But my point is that I feel like you bring in Steve Wilkes, what a great freaking hire. And I know we haven't seen it yet, but if he is who he say he is and who we think he is, that secondary, that miscommunication, those players being out of position, that wasn't D'Amico Ryan's strength as a coordinator.
And that was the one thing that Wilkes said he wants to focus on, limiting explosive plays. That's where we got to fix.
That's what he said.
And so remember this, and this is the craziest thing to me, the Niners chose Wilkes over Fangio. They chose him over Fangio. And I know that's like a weird, like, why would you do that? Because they chose the system plus DB coach over shifting everything and changing whatever else. Niners chose him. Right or wrong, we don't know yet. They haven't played it, but man, I'm pumped about this, man. We had the best defense of probably the last decade in the NFL
last year.
They could, not saying they will. It's tough to replicate defensive success over and over again. That's difficult.
So it's hard to sustain that, is what you're saying.
It's really hard to have the same defense at the top over periods of time. There's teams that have accomplished it, but it's very rare. Very rare. So we'll see.
Yeah, because you're always adding in new pieces, you're losing some of your pieces, and then you have to kind of try to replicate. Even though you might have a core, it still takes time for everything to gel. So that makes perfect sense, unless that's what a team focused on. We're just gonna focus on our defense. Like, I felt like the Ravens defense stayed at the top for at least 5 to 7 years. Like, they were just, as long as they had Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and you can mention anybody else that can plug and play in that joint. But they had those
Brennan Williams. I thought that.
Oh
that
my gosh,
was an absolute stud.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Haloti Nada. Like, they had. I like where we are. I think they added the right piece. They added in the anchor of the middle of the interior. I think this boosts up the play of Eric Armstead. I think this frees up and gives the depth more time to recover and be fresh when they got to come out there. The depth is more familiar with the system as well as playing up front, because Chris Kosiric is still there. So even if it's a different system, go ahead, even though it's not.
I love what you brought up. In my head, the fat gerbils running on his, rusty, will or whatever. Like, the Niners, you're like, okay, you look at the Ravens, who I freaking hate, Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, right? These two, like, Hall
They're
of Famers.
They're just staples,
incredible.
man. Yeah.
Now, even Wilkes talked about Bosa. His job now is to fortify Bosa's legacy. If Bosa continues down this stretch, he's a Hall of Famer. Fred Warner is just on the outside cusp of that. It's pretty hard to get in as a Hall of Famer as a linebacker. It's one of the most difficult positions to make. But he's on the route.
You think he's on the cusp, bro?
Well, I don't think he is yet. I'm saying if this trajectory continues, I don't think he's there yet.
Really?
But
he's the best coverage linebacker in the NFL.
I think it's pretty damn hard to become, a Hall of Famer. Look at Patrick Willis, right? Like, Patrick Willis still not in.
But he also didn't play. I think the only reason why, there's two reasons why Patrick Willis isn't in the Hall of Fame.
We weren't scripting this, guys. I apologize.
Sorry, guys. We're going on a different tangent. My bad.
I'm missing my flight.
No. We'll end this in 30 seconds. There are two reasons why Patrick Willis isn't in the Hall of Fame. Number one, he didn't play long enough, which I think is BS. And number two, he doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And he campaigns for everybody else because he's the nicest guy in the world.
And then he campaigns for everybody else because he is the nicest guy in the world. John, let's talk about injuries. Guys, I see your super chats. Don't think I'm overlooking them. We're just on a super strict script.
Well,
That's
we're going to
weird to
finish
say.
the show with those guys.
And then we'll finish the show with the super chats, okay? So if you guys want to give super chats, be our guest. All right, we appreciate them. John, one injury stuck kind of like didn't come out, but is out, but is not really out. So just got to get your thoughts on Elijah Mitchell. We don't know what the injury is. Could have a stomach bug, could have a knee bug, a foot bug, toe bug. I don't know. But any concerns about Elijah Mitchell being injured?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Any injury.
Talk about
You're talking
it, bro.
about he got a hangnail. It's a concern because you're
Those
just
hurt.
constantly seeing this. You know, I hate the term injury prone because I don't buy into that. But what he needs to do is be healthy. Now, does Elijah Mitchell need these reps? No. He's the most veteran running back in our system in the locker room. Now, obviously, CMC's older and played more, but not in our system. Elijah Mitchell's gone through 2 of these training camps already. So, like, this would be his 3rd. He's been there. It's crazy to say somebody that's been through 2 training camps is the vet in that room. But no, the problem with him isn't him missing reps. It's that Jordan Mason is getting the reps and doing what Jordan Mason does any opportunity he gets, which is smash.
Hey, my motto is don't get hurt.
Yeah.
I know that's easy to say, but because the next man up is ready.
They're fighting for it. They're fighting for it. And I would say probably one of the clearest things that I've like Bobby Turner is back. Jordan Mason wasn't Bobby Turner's guy.
No, that was Anthony Lynn's guy.
Yes. And they asked, I don't know if you saw the one where they asked him, they said, man, what is the potential of Jordan Mason? And he goes, unlimited.
Ooh.
That's my best Russell Wilson impersonation.
Ooh.
Anyway, so like the fact that Bobby Lynn is now, or so Bobby Lynn, that we're putting Anthony
I got
Lynn,
you.
Bobby
We're shorting them together.
Now you got both of them saying this guy, and he's doing it on the field. This Jordan Mason train may not be done yet.
All right. So since we're talking about running backs, Dalvin Cook is being released from the Minnesota Vikings. I know he'll cost a penny. Let's say he didn't though.
Okay.
Because that like when we think about trading for a player, we always, or if he's released, you don't have to trade for him. He'd be a free agent.
If nobody picks him up, correct. So he has to clear waivers. That's what's happening now. So Friday, which is today, about 1 p.m. Pacific time,
he'll
4
clear
p.m.
waivers.
Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we'll know if somebody put in a waiver claim for him or not.
Yeah. He'll clear the waivers. And then he becomes a free agent. This is what he wants, too. He wants to be a free agent. Isn't this when players that are betting on themselves take those weird-ass one-year deals? Or am I bugging?
No, I think you kind of have to. He's 27. And the funny thing is,
he's only 27?
I think so, yeah.
I feel like he's been playing football for 13 years.
I want to make sure.
It just seems like it, John. He does have an injury history as well, but man, when he's out there, it's crazy. I got to paint
he's about to turn 28.
I got to paint the picture, though. Can you imagine if the 49ers were able to scoop up Dalvin Cook for a one-year deal?
It'd be nice, but he'd have to. Here's the thing that people don't forget. The player has to agree to come here.
Correct.
Because, okay, Dalvin, we want you to come play for us. And he's like, don't you have CMC? Yeah, but you're going to be our number 2. I ain't no number 2.
Ah. Do you but at this point, and for him, he doesn't want to be a number 2 if he takes a one-year deal. Why?
Yeah, he's trying to get a prove-it deal and then try to get a contract, but he'll be 29 that year. It's getting rough, man.
It's getting rough.
It's a rough world on these streets for running backs, and Christian McCaffrey's fighting the good fight for all of them.
I will say this. There are 2 running backs. Dalvin Cook might not get touched. I know a lot of people are talking about him. And Ezekiel Elliott. And I think those guys can be running backs on teams as the season gets started and it goes. And if there's a certain injury that happens to one of those running backs, like an ACL injury, you're out or you're trying to make a push, that's when those guys will get a contract. I do think Miami might be in on Cook, but they might not be. They have Mostert. They have what they
make the
need.
most sense to me personally. because I think they could. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. But would I want Dalvin Cook? Absolutely. He would make all 32 teams in the NFL better. However, if you do bring him, you got to pay him. I don't like that. 2, who are you going to cut? You going to cut TDP? You got him 3 more cheap years. TDP is a great number 3 or 4.
That's true, but how do we know he's a great number 3 or 4?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in I liked what I saw from him. He wasn't amazing, but it wasn't like Trey Sermon bad. Like, he showed he could
No, that's
play.
true. That's true.
So I like him. Obviously, I would want him on this team, but not if he wanted more than $2 million. If he wants $2 million and he's okay being the number 2 and understanding that he's the number 2, awesome. No problem. But that ain't Dalvin.
With the injury to Elijah Mitchell, this helps, and I spelled his name wrong, and y'all didn't tell me that his name was spelled wrong this whole time. With the injury to Elijah Mitchell, it's nothing serious as we know of yet. But I'm just curious to know if it becomes something more serious, how does this hurt the 49ers?
I don't think it does.
Okay,
because
good.
if that's the case, you could put him on the PUP and save that roster spot. You don't need him to start the year, especially if Jordan Mason's there.
I know, but you do. Like,
he's so cheap, man. I looked at his contract yesterday. He costs $900,000 this year. He's not even a top 53 player, 51 rule. He doesn't even count against the cap.
I'm talking
free.
I'm talking about more from a dynamic perspective, because what you choose to do with CMC is one thing, but what you can do with a healthy Elijah Mitchell is another. When both of them came out, when Elijah Mitchell came back last year, like, we saw something that we didn't see in a long time. Like, we saw setup, we saw sustainability, and then we saw Jordan Mason as the closer. We saw a 3-headed monster for a short period of time, and you usually don't hear about a 3-headed monster. It's always a 2-headed monster because there's not that many balls to go around. Pause.
Yeah. His best game was when he first came back against the Chargers. That Chargers team was really damn good. That was
and they almost beat us. I remember.
Yeah, I think we had 2 or 3 games that were determined by 6 points or less. That was one of them. And again, Chargers, they're a playoff team, good team. He came out in the second half and just 18 carries, 89 yards, and just freaking thumped. The game changed as soon as he came in. We haven't seen it a lot, though. He's missed a lot of time, but he's incredible. He is incredible.
He has a different type of speed, and like, I feel like the 49ers are missing that factor. And so I like CMC, I like what he does, but he's gonna be over. I'm hoping he's not overutilized. They're gonna overutilize CMC. He's gonna get banged up. He's gonna get a couple of 1-yard carries, but he's building his body for that durability, right? But that's where Mitchell comes in, because now he hits you with a different speed, especially to the outside, and then you could pound up the middle with a Jordan Mason. And in my opinion, I feel like TDP is the perfect mixture of Mason and Mitchell. He's like the combination of the two. So this could be really great for him if the 49ers choose to not go outside their realms. And they also have 2 guys that they have undrafted as well. So
ding.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes of the show. We got about 20-something minutes left, John. I want to talk about
potatoes.
Okay. Who are the leaders? Which kind of potatoes? Red potatoes, white potatoes? They got purple potatoes. Yeah, I kind of like the red ones.
From the South, man.
It's all good. Idaho, let's go. All right. Who are the leaders of the clubhouse for each position, John? And this is going to be interesting, John, because I want to know right now from minicamp, who are the leaders of the clubhouse? Let's start with the quarterback position. We'll go offense to defense. I got my 4 quarterbacks here. Brock Purdy hasn't participated, so I'm not gonna. We have to exclude him. We're gonna exclude the guys that didn't make minicamp.
Yeah,
Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen.
It's Trey Lance with an asterisk. But I do believe Trey Lance earned a lot of stripes last year. I really do. You've heard coach, you've heard players, you've heard Trent Williams, George Kittle, you've heard every single person that has talked, because everybody's asking about Trey Lance, obviously. And we saw it at the games. Who was the first person welcoming every freaking offense off the field, every single position, 1,000% of the time? Never missed them. It was Trey Lance out there. Like, you say what you will. If you dislike Trey Lance and you think he's a bust, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. but you can't talk shit on this dude's character. You cannot.
I agree.
You cannot. And so I think that carries weight.
I agree. I feel like Kyle Shanahan made it almost identically even for Darnold and Trey Lance, and their stats were almost identical as well. They had the same number of misses, and then it was little differentiations, like maybe Sam Darnold, especially on the last day of minicamp, Sam Darnold had 2 drops where Trey Lance had 1 drop or something like that, but they both had the same completion percentage. Again, we're not padding those stats. That's just kind of what Matt Barrows, shout out to Matt Barrows, he put out there for us, to those that want to pad stats. Like, there's just some statistical people out there. But it's good to see what they're doing. I don't know. I just still feel like Trey Lance is the leader as of right now. And I thought he had, from OTAs to minicamp, I think he's in the lead.
Yeah.
I know you put the asterisks, but I think he's in the lead. Let's go running backs. Who's going to be the number 2 running back? We know CMC is 1. So who's going to be spelling CMC as of right now?
I mean, it would be Jordan Mason. It's the exact same conversation as Brock Purdy. It should be Elijah Mitchell. If he's healthy, he will get that shot. He's the leader in the clubhouse, no doubt about it. But he hasn't done it. He wasn't out there at all. So, like, Elijah Mitchell is Brock Purdy in this situation. It's the same thing.
So right now, our depth order of the depth chart is McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, TDP, Elijah Mitchell?
No, Elijah Mitchell's number 2. But
You still got him too. Okay.
I don't think I think that was more precautionary. Just like, we know he knows what he's doing. He's been through more training camps than any other running back we got right now. So it's just different.
Facts.
He doesn't need it.
Facts.
So, but I don't know. That's conjecture. Could be really hurt. No clue.
No clue. Let's go to the wide receivers.
That's
We
the
know that
easiest one ever.
Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, they're your top 2 guys. Who's winning that
Brandon
third spot?
Ayuk's the top. It's not even.
It's not
again,
close.
It's
Yeah.
Matt Barrows. He came out and said Ayuk was the player of training camp, not at the offense, like he was the player of the training camp.
Yeah, he's the
Period.
top dog right now. Like top dog.
Yes.
100%. I agree. Again, Deebo Samuel would probably be number 2. It was good to hear that he owned his mistakes last year. I thought that was really it showed a sign of maturity from this particular young guy. And,
Well,
and I
he's
thought,
just so on the cuff all the time. Like,
On
he
the
has
cuff.
no scripted. If he had a publicist, the publicist would quit their job.
yeah,
Because
he's
he is just
emotional,
real.
John.
He's
Well,
just real.
he belongs on the show. Like that's it's going to be a real reaction every single time. You don't know which one you're going to get, but whatever you get,
Yes, real.
it's 100% authentic from Deebo
It
Samuel.
can't be like he's not this colorful of a personality, but he reminds me so much of Chad Ochocinco.
Ocho
because
Cinco.
It's just, you're getting authentic. Like,
Authentic.
if he could not give you a fake answer if he wanted to. He's like Pinocchio. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to tell. Like, he's just, I love him. I
Yeah.
love Deebo. Love Deebo.
I agree with you. This is Randy Jurgensen's order.
He's
all
throwing
right.
shots.
Purdy, Lance, Allen. They're bigging up Darnold, so it's so cool. CJ Leach wants to know, do we keep 6 receivers?
Yes, but if you keep 6 of those, then you're
Yep.
only keeping 3 tight ends. You know what I mean?
But
So,
that's
like,
tough
would you
to
rather
keep 3 tight ends, John.
I
That's
know. You got to.
They-
It's like, I don't like the question of. It's a great question, but you always got to play like yes, but, or no, but. Like,
I think they keep 6, they keep 4 tight ends, and then they lessen somewhere on the offensive line or something.
okay.
I know you don't like it, but that's the butt game. Pause.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
Let's
One thing before we go to receivers. Do you remember last year Juwan Jennings was the guy? Haven't
was
heard
the
a
guy.
word from him.
haven't heard a word. That's why I'm saying you gave me 1, I gave you 2.
Sorry.
Who is the 3rd receiver as of right now? Who has had the best OTA mini camp session?
Talked about was Danny
Yes,
Gray.
Danny Gray. Nobody's talking about Danny Gray. Nobody's talking about him. They're asking about him in pressers. He's getting all the love. They're asking about how much, how when they asked Deebo about Danny Gray, he was like, listen, to come into this system, to play wide receiver ain't what y'all think it is. It's something totally different. Because Kyle don't care if you can catch. He don't care if you can get open. He want to make sure you could do the intangibles. That's another show we need to do, the intangibles, right? And that's Kyle. Can you block? And remember, Danny Gray's mantra last year was no block, no rock, right? And so clearly he struggled with blocking. I think he's going to be that much better. Is there a possibility that he jumps up to 3 over Ray and Jawan Jennings?
I doubt it.
Okay.
No.
You just messed up my whole. I got mad excited, and
I would like it to.
Ooh, that hurt me. So that was
Sorry.
no. It was a. Cool,
I will say this: maybe if Trey Lance is quarterback early, you might. Perfect pairing.
All right, let's go to tight ends because you said it's going to be tough. How many? 6 tight ends on the books. Kittle, Warner. We know Kittle's number 1. Who's that number 2 tight end, bro?
I mean, there's no way you're cutting Latu. He had a big catch for whatever.
And Kittle bigged him up too. Crazy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I'd go Kittle, Latu, Willis, Warner.
No love for Dwelly, huh?
I love Dwelly, but they cut him last year and nobody wanted him. They'll do the same thing this year.
And then they'll bring him back to the practice squad.
Yeah, I hope so. And I love it's not a shot at Dwelly. It's just there's not a market for that.
So it was funny when Kittle was interviewed, and we'll go to the offensive tackles. So get ready. It was funny when Kittle was interviewed. He talked about, there was one tight end he mentioned, and he talked about his hands, and it was Ross Dwelly. He said, the dude can get open. He said he don't have breakaway speed, but he got some good footwork. And
you
he has
can go
great hands.
watch any press conference from Kittle ever, and they're amazing. You will never see him as happy as whenever he talks about Selleck. Do you remember Selleck? And when he talks about Dwelly. Those are his 2 boys. Those are his 2 boys.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he loves the back end, the backup tight end guys, man. He will fight for them.
Let's go to the tackles. All right. We know Trent Williams is a solid bookend. I think as of right now, McKivitz is leading. Are you hearing any names of any of the other tackles moving up on that board?
Leroy Watson.
Really? I didn't hear much. Please share.
Man, yeah, he was taking all the number 2 reps at left tackle because obviously Trent's out. Shout out to, again, I'm skipping over Jalen Moore, which is probably not nice. They love him at that left tackle spot. He was taking the 1s. But Leroy Watson, I'm telling you, this cat, probably not this year. This dude, he got to be on the active roster next year. Probably not this year. He's 1 more year in the books. UTSA, tight end conversion, Leroy Watson. Remember the name.
I like it. All right, let's go to the centers. Brendo, Feliciano, Ishmael, Corey Luciano, the undrafted kid.
I just
Nick
did a breakdown
Zakelj,
on
you could put in
Luciano.
here too.
I like him. Yeah, but I didn't hear a lot. I like Zakelj. I think they like Zakelj for that spot. I think Zakelj would be the number 2 if Valencia. I don't. Man, it's rough. That's the fight. Is this center position? There's 5 of these bad boys.
That's scary, bro.
It is. Nick Zakelj they love. They're not letting Nick Zakelj go. If the number 2 today would be Feliciano, but I think Zakelj is kind of who they want to win that backup role.
Wow. And I can see it though. Pretty much redshirted last year. Was always he wasn't active, but he was on the active roster, if that makes sense. Like he was a part of the main roster. Maybe this is it, but they got some players. I think with Feliciano though, he's the wild card piece. So the question is, will he be backup at center? Probably he'll be an option for center.
Right.
Would he be the starting guard? That to me is interesting because
he's the first off the table. He's the Samuel Womack of the offensive line, where it's 3 spots. If it's a nickel, he's first. If it's outside corner, he's first. If it's guard or center, he's first. I think early on, Feliciano is going to be that guy, but they want Zakelj to take over the center role, the backup center role.
Got you. Let's go to the defensive side. We're moving along. I told you guys this won't be long. Let's go to the edge rushers. We know that Bosa's the guy, but who has been the top guy of training camp?
Everybody's talking about Drake Jackson.
They talking about Drake Jackson, bro.
Muscles. I like what Trent said about him. He ate some weights. He ate some weights.
Yes. Yes, bro. Yes, Drake Jackson. Defensive tackles. Everybody has been ripping and raving over Javon Hargrave. Or is it Javon Hargrave? I got to make sure it's Javon Hargrave, spelled Javon Hargrave. I want to make sure I say it right. Eric Armstead obviously looks good. Any other names standing out to you at camp as of right now?
One thing that was interesting to me, we have not heard a peep about Kalia Davis. We haven't heard a peep about him.
I haven't heard a peep, but I've seen videos, and he looks good. He looks good.
I'm curious. That's a tough spot, man, that he's in. We all assumed redshirt role, get the job. They went and got crazy deep.
Well,
crazy deep.
What's messing him up is that they stocked up at this position.
Yep.
And so he's got to beat out like a fan favorite in Kevin Givens, a guy that they brought in like T.Y. McGill that they brought in last year and then re-signed or signed him in free agency, brought him back. And then there's Spencer Waggy, whose name has
Waggy? Is it Waggy?
It's Waggy. Yeah.
Oh man, I've been messing that up. Sorry, Spencer.
It's okay. Or Waggy. It's one of the two.
I'm from Texas.
I'm gonna go with Waggy. So here's the thing. His name has been a buzz. They said Javon Kinlaw looks good.
Kinlaw looks great.
I'm not talking about physical look too. I'm talking about in practice.
Yes.
And
gotta wait till the pads come on.
Gotta wait till the pads. I know this is pre-training camp.
Yes.
We're gonna do this again during training camp because we're gonna be guessing our 90-man roster anyway. So our 53-man roster anyway. So this is gonna be interesting. Let's go to the linebackers because I haven't heard. Oh, Greenlaw, was he addressing an injury as well?
Yeah, he had the thumb issue. It's just a thumb. Yeah,
he had the surgery. Remember?
Yeah. That's
okay.
Hey, no thing. I like what he said. He's like, it's just affected me being able to punch the ball. That's you can't. He ain't ever gonna change, and I don't want him to, man. My favorite 49er. Favorite 49er.
Kylie asked a good question. What about Jason Poe?
All I know is when they show O-line, 51 is shrunk compared to everybody else.
Yeah, he's tiny.
But they love him. Practice squad player of the year on the offensive side.
He's tiny. Can he play any other position on the offensive line other than
guard? He's just playing guard. He's not even taking center snaps.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm getting.
But man, he's fun. My favorite thing about Jason Poe, his first preseason game, he was the highest rated run blocker, lowest rated pass blocker. Next game, highest rated pass blocker, lowest rated run blocker. Like he just gotta figure it out.
That's all. He just needs reps. He needs time.
This ain't his year. I'm just gonna be honest. This ain't his year. Like this was always a 2-year. Same with Leroy Watson. These are long-term plays. Okay, so just he'll get his chance. What's going on, Bryant? All right, let's keep this moving, man. This is pretty fun now that I think about it. And so who was your linebacker other than Fred Warner? I'm going Marcelino McCrary Ball.
That's my guy. That's the guy.
Toughest defensive tackle, then linebackers. These are the toughest position groups because Jalen Graham, like if I was sorting this depth chart right now, Jalen Graham would be last, but there ain't no way. There ain't no way they see it that way. Yeah.
I feel like I have. Oh, if you were okay, I see what you're saying. I think they have Jalen Graham higher than D. Winters right now.
Probably, but the draft capital and all those things would
say
sir. Not so fast.
Yes, sir.
We say this every year.
Can we
trade some of these linebackers? Can we trade some? Because
it's a possibility.
This is tough, man. I want every one of these guys. And my undrafted guy, Marin, I want him too. He's probably going to be a practice squad guy, but I love these guys, man. Him and DFF, I don't think have a chance. I don't think DFF has a chance.
I like this, man. Shout out to Remilia Sports Report, man. Thanks for joining the stream, brother. We appreciate the support. Let's go to the safeties, man, because haven't heard Hufunga's name yet. Seen him in all the pictures, but there is one safety that they've been talking and raving about. Who's your top guy so far?
Yeah, it's what do they call him? Tig. It was his
They
nickname,
call him
right?
Tig because he bounced all over the place like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
I love it. Yeah, it's got to be him, man.
Jair Brown, man. 100%. Listen, I don't know if he's going to start opposite Hufanga, but what do you think his role would be? Because he is a playmaker, John.
I really want those 3 safety sets. That's what I
You
want.
talked about it. You've been talking about it.
I really want that, where you pull off Dre Greenlaw, which breaks my heart, and you go with one linebacker. You got a 4-1-6.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And so I would love
Interesting, because I think we'll see different looks because of Steve Wilkes. If Steve Wilkes trusts his guy, this is great for Dre Greenlaw too, because this will help him stay durable, stay fresh, right? Now,
he don't need to play every snap.
it is.
His pass coverage has shot up leaps and bounds, but is his pass coverage as good as Jair Brown? Walk Jair Brown. He'll play tough. My favorite clips of Jair Brown are in the goal line, where that dude turns into Oklahoma drill.
You talk about missile heat seeking, yeah.
Now, can he hit like Dre Greenlaw? No.
No.
In those, I want three. I always want 3 safety sets. I wanted that back when it was Tarvarius Moore, Tart, and Ward.
But
and that's
Moore
when we got the pick in the Super Bowl was in a 3 safety set.
But Moore couldn't comprehend the concept. He was a good dime backer.
But Moore was the deep single
deep one.
I don't want that. I want Hufanga and Brown
box
coming down, and I want the deep as Tayshaun.
Yes,
I want to cover 3 right there. Corners drop, middle safety, bring down. Come on now. I'm having fun over here. I got excited.
This is going to be great. Speaking of corners, let's get to the corners, John. Deamador Lenore has been the buzz of camp. But give me an unsung hero.
Deshaun Jameson.
I told y'all about Deshaun. The moment I tweeted, I never thought you.
I was in a bad mood, bro.
Yo, why? I tweeted about, this kid, he drops a kickoff return, picks it up and scores a touchdown. You tell me, how in the heaven and hell are you not looking at this guy? He's that fast and that quick. He just got to hold on to the ball.
I could just say this. There have been times over the last 4 years where I have said ample cuss words because of this young gentleman. And I love him. I'm a Longhorn. He's a Longhorn. Like, he's just a boom or bust guy. Traits off the charts. Incredible. I hope he makes this squad. I'm just telling you, I got a little PTSD. That's all.
I got you. And the bad thing, John, I picked that play, which started off the PTSD, but it should have, he finished it. That play was amazing. I don't know, man. Here's the cool thing, right? That was special teams. He's been playing a good defensive back. Okay.
He's greedy. Whenever Wilkes came out and said, I want more turnovers, the first thing that hit in the back of my head was Deshaun Jameson. Like, Jameson, he'll get you your turnovers. Yeah.
He'll
I told y'all.
That's me. 100%. That's me all day.
We'll be driving on like one of our trips, and we'll be having conversations like this. We just talk like this every time. And I swear, man, that dude, full arm swing too, with every syllable. I told y'all. Every single time, man. I love it. I love it,
yo. I love it. Moses in the building. He says my boy didn't come see me this morning. I'm sad. I'm sorry.
So man.
Moses in town. That picture's fire. They stopped him and the family. They stopped at a restaurant in New Haven, which is like the best breakfast spot I've ever been to in my entire life. I mean, you gonna go there, you gonna eat, and you gonna go to sleep right after. That's how good the breakfast is. It's not like a diner breakfast. You eat it, you full, and when you leave, you hungry again. Nah, when you eat this, it's wholesome. You can tell. So I didn't get a chance to meet them because they were like on their way there, and I'm like, dude, Rome's still asleep. I gotta get Rome up. Like, I gotta get him to school, do this, and I gotta get back and prep for the show. So Mose, my apologies, bro.
Come see me, Mose. Come see
safe
me,
travels to Boston, and bring me back something with the Celtics on it, since you're gonna be out there. All right, kicker. Let's get to the kicker.
Yeah, you gotta talk the young pup, man. 63-yarder.
I mean, after that, do you need to see more?
Or he's got the job guaranteed no matter what. You've got the other guy just as insurance, but when he's waived, that trade reverts back and whatever else. But yeah, maybe you could trade the kicker, but it's probably not going to happen. It's no matter what, it's him. You don't draft the second highest drafted kicker in the past decade and cut him.
That's what I was trying to tell people, but they was like, "Oh no, it's a battle going on between him and Zane." Like, what battle? If anything, Zane Gonzalez is getting work to put on film to get to another team.
No. Usually have two kickers in training camp. Almost always.
Hey, I like what Jake Moody's doing. He's starting to show. He's starting to build the strength. He's always had the strength, but he's starting to build the confidence, and he's starting to kick some of these longer field goals or whatnot. And he's pretty damn accurate. And I know people. The question is going to be this. The question is, can he do it in a game? That's the first question. The second question is going to be what? Can he do it under pressure? And that we don't know. Under pressure, we don't know as of right now. John, that was fun. I feel like our punter is safe and Tabor Pepper isn't going anywhere. So that was a good exercise. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get to these super chat contributions because they're going to open up some stuff that we discussed earlier on the show, and I might not have any idea what the hell they're talking about. All right, so here we go. Let's start with Jax Knox. We're going to go in the order that they were received. Fall corn for everybody. All right, so there it is. Thank you for the touchdown, super chat contribution. 17-0, our first game, 27-3 Niner win, period. Any
She's been so consistent.
Yeah,
this
we'll leave
woman
it at that.
is unwavering,
Let's
and I
leave it.
love it. And we're going to be hanging out together for that game. So
we will be together for that game. And then she follows back with another contribution, and we were talking about our defense, and she says, "Look, same defense because we going 17-0." So shout out to Jacqueline Knox. Uncle Salty's in the building. We were talking about the injury to Elijah Mitchell. He says, "Not worried about Elijah Mitchell with J.P. Mason and Wilkes. Would rather have them both healthy and available, but not going to sweat it yet."
Yeah, I was saying the same thing last year about Jeff Wilson when I was like, yes, if you can trade Jeff Wilson for a 6th, you do it. A 7th, you do it. Because I believe in JP. And sure enough, we got a 5th, and JP was better than Jeff Wilson.
Very well said. The wonderful, beautiful, vivacious, lovely Miss Debbie, and she's doing much better. I finally saw the picture. I saw the pictures on Twitter today. She says, "Good morning, Wayne and John. Thank you for the contribution, Miss Deb. Blessings to everyone who has joined this morning." I like how she spelled it too. Morning. Shout out to my 49er surgeon, Matt Miller, for my successful knee replacement surgery on Tuesday. Why does Matt Miller sound like a football name?
It does. It does.
I wonder if he played football. I know Matt Millen did, but I wonder if Matt Miller played as well. We're glad you're doing well, Miss Debbie. It's good to see you're in great spirits. Thank you for the contribution. We truly appreciate it. Jax Knox is back. She says, "It's my Jordan Mason time."
Consistent, man.
Consistent. Very consistent. I think I feel like Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason should switch numbers so then Jordan could wear 23. And then McCaffrey, I don't know why I want McCaffrey to wear 2-4, but I just thinking the Jordan and then whatever. You know, they won't ever. All right. Colin's in the building. He says, "Bing bong." Is that what he meant? "Fasten your seatbelts. Lights has come on."
There we go.
I don't remember what this was to though.
I think we said something smart. You did, and then I probably messed it up. That was my guess.
Like me being facetious smart, or like a smart ass, or like something intellectually smart.
Intellectually smart. 100%.
I don't give out intellectual smarts often, so I can never tell when this is happening. But thank you, Colin, for the contribution. Brandy Williams is in the building. Thank you for the super chat contribution. She says, "Keep up the great work. We appreciate you, B." And then Jax concludes the contributions. Jair Brown, I called it. You did call it right after me. That's exactly when you called it. I'll leave it at that. But thank you for the contribution, Jax. We truly appreciate it over here. John, it's been a great show, man. I hope you guys like the show. Man. I do. They're awesome in the morning, but they love to come out at night. I'm starting to realize that the night shows are better because they leave it all. They let it all on the table at night. You know what I mean? But wait, Uncle Salty says I'm the smart ass one. No, Yeah, you are. You are.
He is 100% every time.
100%. He is. He
But
is.
the best, Salty. I see Lake City Fresh. I see you in there, man. What's
Lake
up,
City is in the building. What's going on, family? It's Wayne Breezy, the phone 9 preacher. Yo, John, I'm so excited about the song that we're going to be releasing. And hopefully I'll be doing a music video for during the weekend of the Dallas game. So I'm going to try to do
you want me
music.
like to do the robot like in the background?
That would
Like,
actually be
I'm
that
just
would
going
be
to give
fire.
you that if you would like that. I'm just
That
saying
would
that's my
that would be
contribution.
fire. Now that I think about it, because I can't even do the robot. My
Oh, I can't either. I
I'm
can't
like
do jack
I'm
shit.
like Vicky from Small Wonder, bro. Like, what's going on, Marcus? Listen, we had a great show. John's gonna take us out very shortly. John, I know you're headed out. You're about to travel. You got anything planned for the faithful while you're out in Vegas?
Man, so I'm meeting with some old coaching buddy, so going to talk football like crazy. But I'm excited because this is kind of my last little break, whatever, before the move, and I'll be up in the Bay Area in no time, which I'm excited. We don't have a house yet, but that's just a detail.
You don't need a house. You could just tailgate every week and live out of the trailer, U-Haul, whatever it is you're gonna be doing.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Don't do that, because I need John. And Mrs. Chapman is not going to want that. So, like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that right here. Sorry. John, take us home, baby.
Man, this was awesome. Wayne, thank you. The community, thank you. And I'm excited. So many good things ahead. And until next time, love you guys. Stay strong, faithful.